The arena's medical scanners were malfunctioning. That was the only explanation that made sense to the crowd of 2,000 spectators watching the intergalactic combat finals. The human fighter, Jake Thompson, should have been unconscious 3 rounds ago. His opponent, HFY of the Centaurian Guard, stared in disbelief at the human who was still standing despite a dislocated shoulder, 2 cracked ribs, and enough bruising to put most species in critical care. The Centaurian's 4 arms, each capable of delivering 300 pounds of force, had landed clean hits repeatedly. "Stay down," HFY growled, his mandibles clicking with frustration. "The match is over. You are damaged beyond combat efficiency." Jake spat blood onto the arena floor, rolled his displaced shoulder against the cage wall with a sickening pop that made half the audience flinch, and raised his fists again. "Nah, I'm good. Let's keep going." The referee, a Vulerian with enhanced optical sensors, scanned Jake for the 5th time. Competitor Thompson shows multiple trauma indicators: severe contusions, partial ligament tears, stress fractures in. "I said I'm good," Jake interrupted, bouncing on his feet despite his left ankle being swollen to twice its size. "What, we stopping every time someone gets a boo-boo now?" The crowd murmured in multiple languages. The Altarian delegation was already calling for medical intervention. The Regellan bookmakers were frantically recalculating odds. Nobody had seen anything like this. HFY, honor-bound to continue until his opponent yielded, launched another assault. His primary arms struck high while his secondary arms targeted Jake's injured ribs. The impacts echoed through the arena like thunderclaps. Jake stumbled, caught himself, and laughed. Actually laughed, through bloody teeth. "That tickled. My turn." What followed defied every combat algorithm the arena's computers had ever processed. Jake fought like physics didn't apply to him. His dislocated shoulder shouldn't have been able to generate power, but his right cross sent HFY sliding backward. His damaged ankle shouldn't have supported pivoting kicks, but he landed 3 in succession. Dr. Helix from the Andromedan Medical Institute stood from her seat, her tentacles writhing in agitation. "This is impossible. His pain receptors should be overwhelming his nervous system. His muscles should be in complete failure from lactic acid buildup. How is he still conscious, let alone fighting?" Her human colleague, Dr. Martinez, didn't look up from his beer. "Ever heard of adrenaline? Endorphins? Humans are basically walking chemical weapons factories." Jake's probably so high on his own brain juice right now he couldn't spell his own name, but he'll keep swinging until his body literally stops working. Round 7 began with HFY visibly hesitating. In his species' entire military history, opponents either yielded when injured or died. This middle ground, too damaged to be effective but refusing to stop, was unprecedented. Jake capitalized on the hesitation. With movements that looked more like controlled falling than technique, he somehow closed the distance and landed an uppercut that would have been beautiful if not for the fact that his knuckles were already broken from previous rounds. HFY, despite his superior condition, found himself backing away, not from fear of injury, but from deep psychological discomfort. Every instinct in his evolution told him this creature should be down. The human's continued assault felt like fighting a corpse that refused to acknowledge it was dead. "Why won't you stop?" HFY demanded between defensive blocks. Jake wheezed something that might have been a laugh. "Stop? Buddy, I played high school football in Texas. This is just a regular Tuesday." The end came not through knockout but through biological rebellion. Jake's left leg finally gave out completely, forcing him to one knee. Even then, he tried to stand twice more before the referee called the match. As medical teams from 6 different species rushed to attend him, Jake gave a thumbs up to the crowd. "Same time next week?" HFY declared the technical winner, stood in the center of the arena looking more defeated than Jake. He would later tell his clan that he'd learned something terrifying that day. Humans didn't fight until they couldn't anymore. They fought until they decided to stop, and those were 2 very different things. The Galactic Combat Commission would subsequently add new rules specifically for human participants. including mandatory consciousness checks and a please actually stop fighting protocol. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.